By the end of the video, you're going to have a new credit union that you can go ahead and get to build up your credit profile. And it's not Navy Federal. You're going to be able to get a pledge loan from them the same way you can get from Navy Federal. Navy Federal is not the only credit union that's doing these pledge loans, right? So stay tuned until the end of the video. We're going to get straight into it. If you're looking for business funding, maybe for a real estate project, maybe for e-commerce, maybe for anything, whatever, right? Stay until the end of the video because the foundation is going to be your personal credit. So let's build it. So let's talk about just what a perfect credit profile looks like in the eyes of the lender. So if you're not aware, you definitely want to have a 700 plus score all across the board. You definitely want to have no negatives. You want to have a single digit utilization rate. So that means 9% or less. A lot of times they're just like, okay, have 30% and you're good to go. But you got to understand that the name of the game is maximizing your points. When we talk about minimum funding, we're talking about little money. When we talk about maximizing your funding, we're talking about big money. We're going to talk about big money today, right? I like talking about big money. If you're looking to fund that real estate project, if you're looking to fund, whatever you need to fund, you probably need big money. Big money is going to help it become better, right? So get that bag. We're going, we're going to get straight to it. So single digit utilization rates. So we want to have 9% or less. We don't want to go by the average where they say, oh, 30%. We don't want to be like that. And then on top of that too, just for example, if your cards are like maxed out, one resource you could try to apply for where they'll pay off your credit cards. It depends on how much you have, because if your cards are just like, if you like over six figures in credit card debt, I don't know if it's gonna work, but you can go to Happy Money. You type that Happy Money or Meet Tally. I've spoke about it in a previous video, but you may be new, so keep that in mind. You want to have at least 4 years of average history. 4 years of average history, because your length of credit history is going to be important when it comes to getting your funding, when it comes to getting that business funding. So the way that I fund my clients when it comes to business funding, I don't do the typical build up the business credit, do the net 30s, EIN only, and all that. I'm big on using your personal as a personal guarantor. Why are we running away from using our personal credit unless we feel like we're going to do something shady with the money, right? You're going to flip or do whatever you can to make that profit, right? So don't be afraid to use your personal credit as a personal guarantee, right? So if you're in a position, I'm going to leave a link in the description. I have connections with certain lenders that will allow you to be able to maximize your funding essentially, right? So we'll talk about that later, but just to FYI, you want to have at least 2 credit cards that have at least $2,500 limits. Preferably, you want to have 5-figure credit cards. So, for example, Navy Federal, like the Green Cash Rewards card, you see a lot of people are getting 25,000 on that. Alliant Credit Union, they give high limits as well. So just do your due diligence research. Barclays gives high 5-figure limits as well. So just keep in mind, because there's something called comparable credit. When I say comparable credit, a lot of times what's on your personal is going to drive what you're going to get approved for on the business side. So you got to think about it from the eyes of the lender. If they're looking at your credit and they're just like, okay, this person has a $2,500 card, a second $2,500 card. You've only managed less than $3,000 on your credit cards, right? Versus somebody else, let's say they have a $25,000 card and then they have like a $15,000 card. The bank, the lender, they gonna be more willing to loan out more money to the person that has that 25,000 and 15,000. It's gonna be comparable, right? Credit is about trust. Credit is about history. So just always think about like relationship, and that's really what it is. And then you want to have at least 10 positive accounts. So that's the whole purpose of this video. If you happen to suffer from a skinny profile, because a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I got good credit. It's just a score though, right? You can't just get away with just having a good credit score. You have to have a good credit profile, right? So this is why we want to have at least 10 positive reporting accounts. So the credit union I'm going to tell you about today, where you're going to take out a pledge loan, is going to allow you to get that additional account. So just for example's sake, let's say you have your student loans. You go ahead and get a Navy Federal pledge loan, right? You go ahead and get a pledge loan with the credit union I'm telling you to do today as well. So you're going to continue to build up, those accounts that you have. You get primaries. You get primaries like you sign up for something like Boom Pay, Rent Reporters, backdate your rent. So it's pretty easy to get to 10 accounts when you break it down like that. But just context for anyone that's not aware of what a pledge loan is. It's basically where you take out money based off of what you have. So like you get an account based off of what you put down. So let's say you put down $10,000. You got $10,000 in your account, like a savings account. They're going to use that as collateral. So what's going to happen is they're going to front you a loan based off of that $10,000 that you have put down. So now you owe $10,000 on that loan, but that's a five-figure loan that's open in your name. It's helping you build your credit. So now what you could do, it's really up to you. This is not legal. I said legal. This is not financial advice. I'm so used to the consumer laws. But now what happens is what you could do is you could pay off 95% of that loan. So 9,000 to 9,500 of it. So you get most of your money back. Then you just stretch out the payments for as long as you want. So stretch out the rest of the 500 to 1,000. So that's just an example of how you could use a pledge loan. And it's basically what we're talking about today. The whole purpose is to build your credit, right? So keep that in mind. You want to have a well-diverse profile. So we're going to talk about the credit union. So I'm going to share my screen. Drum roll. This credit union is called Hughes Federal Credit Union, right? Hughes Federal Credit Union. So as you see right here, savings pledge loan, earn while you borrow. So the dope thing I like about Hughes Federal Credit Union is that getting approved as far as becoming a member is different from Navy Federal. Those of y'all that know about Navy Federal, you have to have someone that worked in the military to get in. With Hughes Federal Credit Union, all you got to do is make a donation, So go ahead and make your donation. It's very, very affordable. And then you can go ahead and apply for the pledge loan. So I know so many people when they're talking about building credit, they're talking about, oh, go get a Navy Federal pledge loan. Go get a Navy Federal pledge loan. That's cool, but I like to also give alternatives because we want to have as many reporting accounts as possible. So this is what we do with our clients for funding when we're telling them to build. If they have a skinny profile on the personal side, or if they're just going through the credit repair. So look, not a fan of dipping into your savings or pay for an expense. You need to build your credit, blah, blah, blah. They're talking about the collateral, borrow what you need while still earning dividends, blah, blah, blah. So loans pledged against a savings account, as loan balance declines, the secured funds become available. So as you pay it off, it becomes available to you. So that's why I use the example of the $10,000. You put $10,000 down, you pay off maybe 9,000, 9,500 of it, and then you're paying the rest in small monthly increments, and you're able to, establish that history. I wouldn't, remember, this is not financial advice. I wouldn't recommend paying off the entire loan too quickly because you got to think about the time you want it to be open because it's building your credit, So keep that in mind. Look, they got up to 12 years. You can stretch out your payments. As the loan is paid off, secure funds become available to you. Funds can be pledged from a different person's account. Yeah, so this is Hughes Federal Credit Union. While you're watching this video, go run it up because whenever there's information that's put out, people are gonna go and apply it, right? So if you're watching this video, hopefully you're watching it early. Go ahead and sign up with Hughes Federal Credit Union and go ahead and take your credit to the next level. So that is a credit union, Hughes Federal Credit Union. So just a word before we end the video on maximizing your funding. The best way to maximize your funding is having a relationship with a bank relationship manager. So you want to have a relationship with a BRM, a bank relationship manager. What do I mean by this? I was talking about it earlier. If you just apply without a bank relationship manager, like let's say you just go apply online right now. Yeah, you can get approved, but you're gonna get higher limits if you actually know someone that's in the bank, right? It's basically like if you attend a conference as VIP versus general admission. You're gonna get treated better if you're VIP. VIP is basically having that bank relationship manager, right? I have connections with bank relationship managers in different institutions. So that's why when I get my clients funded, I'm able to get them a lot of business funding, right? High limits, right? Higher limits than if you just went and applied because they have a relationship with the underwriting. So they're able to lend out more. right? It's just like knowing somebody in the party versus you just go there and you don't know nobody. That's basically what you're doing for the most part, right? You watching this right now, you probably don't have connections with bank relationship managers. I got those connections, so that allows me and my clients to be able to get those higher limit approvals, right? So just keep that in mind. So just for example, so I obviously have well, I won't say obviously, I have a Chase plug. I have a Chase bank relationship manager. If you apply online by yourself, you might get 10 to 15K on a business credit card versus if you get with someone like me, I have a specific senior executive that works there, senior bank relationship manager. He works on underwriting. You could potentially get anywhere from 50 to $75,000 on that card, depending on how your profile is set up. This is why people that want to maximize their funding, people that are smart, that know that they don't have relationships with the bank, they tend to work with us because they understand, like, okay, if I go get 10 to 15,000 by myself, that's little money. That's not enough to fund this real estate deal that I got to do. Why don't I get with Michael and Kat so they can get me to 50 to 75,000, pay them 10%. Okay, that's 5,000 to 7,500. That's little compared to the return you're gonna get. And at the same time, these Chase Bank business credit cards are 0% interest for 12 months. What does that mean? Let's use $50,000 as an example. Let's say you get your $50,000 card because you did the smart thing. You got with us and you got through with our bank relationship manager. What's going to happen is you got 0% interest for a 12-month period. That's a whole year. So let's say you max out that card, you liquidate the card, you liquidate the $50,000, you go do what you need to do. Your monthly payment for those 12 months is only going to be $500 because there's not going to be interest on it. So after that 12-month period is done, that's when you're starting to pay more, right? But you got to think about it. If you can't make a profit within 12 months with $50,000 in that real estate deal or whatever, you need to get in a new industry. You're not a business owner. You're just meant to just go work a 9 to 5 and just do that for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Smart people would book that call. So speaking of booking that call, if you got value from this video and your business funding ready, whether you have a new LLC, old LLC, it don't matter. If your profile's ready, you could book a call. And basically hold on, book a call in the description. Basically the way that it would go. So, I mean, we primarily do business funding, but we can do personal funding as well. We primarily like working with business owners because y'all are like-minded, like you understand investments, right? So the way the call is going to go is basically I would take a look at your credit profile. So don't lie on an application because you just be wasting your own time. So assuming you have no negatives, you got 700 plus across the board, you got a couple of credit cards that have at least $2,500 limit. Your DTI is not too crazy, and your what's it called? Your utilization rate is single digits. Then we should be good to go. I'll get you situated. Basically, we'll go through one of my bank relationship managers and just go through the funding sequence that we utilize to maximize your funding. We'll look at your goals, what you're trying to do. Just make sure that funding is what you actually want, and it's actually it makes sense to to make a profit, right? Because I don't want to get you money and then you just use it uselessly. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully this video helps. If it did help you, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. Also, one thing too, we do offer referral fees for people that send us for business funding. So at the time I'm recording this, it could change. At the time I'm recording this, anybody that you send us that we get funded will pay you out $1,000. So very nice way to make a passive income. If you know the economy is hard, if you're looking for any additional ways to make money, go ahead and tap in with us. So with that being said, y'all have a blessed one.